Deep in the heart of Mirkwood, you have traveled for some time, and you had reached a point where you had encountered a band of orcs. That to call them orcs is generous. Theomar would have seen much more impressive orc stock than this. And you had captured and questioned one, knocked him unconscious, and now we're headed deeper into the Mirkwood, following this orc's directions, with the intent of getting to Dol Guldur. How do you feel about having seen your first orc, Ivoriel?
They're repugnant. They're like nothing she's ever seen, and their speech was so harsh, and it made her feel cold. And to hear Theomar use it so easily, it makes her uneasy.
Yeah, I guess it would still kind of echo in your mind, the sound of the black speech, and like the strange guttural noise of it, and more than that, like the sense of wrongness about it would be very noticeable, I think, to all of you. So you're moving through Mirkwood with the intent of going to, correct me if I'm wrong here, to the great stone that the orca directed you to. You like follow the path. Is that what your plan is?
Yeah, and to take the orc, because we overheard them speaking of Ungoliant spawn dwelling in the path beyond, that we might need to give him over to them for passage. I think we're going to go where he had spoken of the gathering of those two orcish tribes.
So then you follow the path, like through spider webs, for the best part of like an hour, and then two. And you can hear up above the constant spiders moving up above. They don't seem to like come at you or attack, but always you hear them behind you. And every time you turn to look, you can see them just out of view, sort of just in the corner of your eye, like skittering away. And you move like through this thick webbing. Your horses are like terrified and are really reluctant to like go further into the dark and the deep. But a little bit of time goes by, and you'll eventually see this stone that the orc was talking about. And you can see now that it's not a stone at all. It used to be a tower, partially like caved in. You would see like the roof is totally collapsed, and that like almost half of it is like collapsed inwards. Though the greater half of it is like facing you as you approach this like fork, or this sort of crossroads, with this old tower now ruined before you. There are spiders like all around up in the webs. You can see like many of them are like watching, and you'll hear the occasional like boom, 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 as they like pluck at the webs, obviously communicating in this strange way, and also like skittering and chattering amongst themselves. And as you like approach this ruined tower, the spiders, when you get to a certain point within maybe 30, 40 feet of it, all the spiders will go quiet. And then you can hear this voice. What does it bring?
Uruk.
Give tribute for Queen.
I'll look to Arhael for like his consent to what these chittering things command.
Yeah, he would nod, somewhat uneased as well.
Then he'd like cut the ropes that like bind the orc they'd captured to his saddle horn, and like pushes the thing towards the chittering tower and says, Gianni Gorm Ungoliant's tabs isishukaf zabur strushatok. Which is food for you Ungolians gets to let us pass this darkwood path.
The orc just like thunk, down into the webs and the like leaves broken. Not orc uruk, you are man flesh. But you give sacrifice morsel. And you can see this like leg, it's like a long, freakishly long spider leg, like come up from inside the tower, and then another, until like these 8 legs have like pulled their way out. Obviously, like resting inside the tower, and this like strange thing with like a weirdly human face will like crawl its way out, and it's huge. It's much bigger than the other spiders, and will like skitter and like hover over the orc, and like bend down to inspect it. And it like looks side to side. Acceptable. Sacrifice morsel. And it like with 2 of its legs will like pick up the orc, with 2 others will like spin it and will begin to like wrap it in this like thick web. Why man flesh here?
I get the sense that this creature is quite keen and intelligent, right? Is that
Yeah, like it doesn't speak very well, but you don't think it's stupid.
like lying could be bad?
Potentially.
Theomar will eye the thing and speak in black speech. We have no quarrel with you or your own, unless you wish it. We seek the burnt lord.
It will like it's like mandibles will like cover some of its eyes for a second at the mention. Orc. Orc uruk. Seek. Sneak path into hell. Not finding. No quarrel with man flesh.
Oh, sure. He'll say, bowing and then step back, which is black speech for enjoyment.
It will like continue to like wrap the little orc up in webbing, and it will like turn its head just briefly to look away from you, and then straight back. And like 2 smaller spiders will like come and take the orc, and like hang him up into a tree. And you like as you like look up, you can see that there are a great many like orc bodies hanging in these like cocoons from up there. And it will like sort of slowly retreat backwards towards the tower and like climb on top of it.
Theomar thinks such a shame that such finery from ages past should now be home for such as that to dwell in. But he's just silent outwardly as they take the offering away and string it up. And when they are attention is wholly turned, he'll take to his horse and companions and, without saying anything, nod in the direction forked away from here that the orc had spoken of, and that we should take our leave and not overstay here.
Yeah, they'll watch and follow for a little bit as you like walk away or ride away rather. You'll see them like up in the trees and like following along. But there's a point then when they will simply stop and like return back. Though it feels too long to you, there is a point when the webs get less intense, and you're more in a forest and less in a spider web.
Whatever beauty may have once lay here has long been strangled. This place is ill wrought, Grimthane says, in general to the group as they ride along, and it has too many eyes.
I agree. And I feel it's more than spiders that spy us. He says, like looking about the dark woods, seeing nothing but like trees and its stillness without breeze. And then eventually, inevitably, his eyes always fall back to the path and he urges his beast on.
Grimthane's gaze follows your own as he looks around, trying to pierce the darkness of Mirkwood for what else may be watching them. And he just grips Algar, his heirloom spear, spurs himself on likewise.
So you ride away from the spiders, probably still feeling like there's a spear about to be shoved between your shoulder blades at any moment, that sort of wriggling fear, something behind you. Though every time you look, there's nothing. And as you like look in all directions in this like deep dark forest, there's always a sense of being watched and of too many eyes, but your own eyes are unable to pierce whatever shroud or mist or fog or whatever it is keeps you from seeing too far in front of you. Even Arahale struggles, and he's not used to that. He would like say as much that he like can't really see a great distance here, that like the trees are too thick and that there seems to be some sort of sense of not a sense but like a fog or a mist. You'll continue like in the direction the orc had told, and it wouldn't be more than like 2 hours before you would like hear the noise of orcs, the industry of orcs ahead. You would hear the sort of like shunk, shunk, shunk of wood chopping going on at a pretty slow rate, but then you would hear the whoosh, and then like the sort of muffled cries or distant cries of like orcs and like swearing and black speech, followed by a little bit quicker pace of axe chopping.
Do we have a map, and are we able to chart where we think we might be in relation to Dol Guldur?
I think that you would have a map, but it would be ancient. Like no one has been to Mirkwood in a long time. And even when they were frequently here, Dol Guldur was always a place of like darkness. And so after it was destroyed, like they didn't choose to build anything here. Yeah, they like left it obscured deliberately.
Theomar will seek to like stand next to a tree instinctively and like look out towards the sound of like crashing trees or axe chopped. and see if he can spy anything like sentries or scouts who might be dwelling beyond the industry, keeping watch.
Yeah, you can give me a perception, please.
$19.
Okay, so you can hear more than see. You're probably too far away still to see anything, but you can hear the definite like chopping and the occasional like whip crack and like snarky comment of an orc, obviously like a taskmaster or something like that. You would have seen this, I guess, with the orcs that you had encountered. Like there is a caste of orc snaga who are like slaves, who even among orcs are like slaves. Yeah, and that's what I guess you would hear. You wouldn't be able to like hear details, I don't think. Not even Arahil would be able to like hear details beyond that. You think there's probably like more than 10 slaves chopping wood, but beyond that, it's hard to know anything specific without getting closer.
Say as much to my companions in a hushed tone.
Ten or so, all armed. Wood-cutting axes can still take a limb. Are they sound like the large ones that we saw earlier? This, or the smaller ones?
Thamar, you would know that orcs like enslave other orcs frequently. That it's like pretty normal. That like there's different castes of orc, and somewhere like near the top is the Olog High, which are like the trolls, and then like down from them are the Uruks, and then like down from them are like normal orcs, and then like goblins, and then all the way down to like Snaga, who are like any kind of orc that's been like enslaved. They tend to be like weakly or like sick or like disformed, things like that, and are like forced into labor and slavery.
And to clarify, there's like a bunch of orcs, presumably standing around the 10 orc slaves.
You would assume that there's, well, you've heard some whip crack, so you would assume that there's at least one like orc, likely like an uruk, like a big orc, who's keeping them in check. You would assume more than one, but you can't be sure.
Yeah. These orcs trespass and profane the ancient concord that none would take of the Mirkwood or the Greenwood. I don't know if it's proof enough to go back to the king with. What should we do? You'll ask that of Voriel and Arhael, as they're like Gondorian.
We should see it with our own eyes.
Arahel would agree. I think he would like look beyond and try to pierce with his elven eyes, but isn't able to do so. And he would say, "We kind of go back with hearsay."
I think Ivoriel has what old map of Mirkwood that she's copied, and she's looking at it and trying to get a sense of their direction, but this very little sun penetrates the canopy. We are close. It could be Dol Guldur.
You know what all of you would know about Dol Guldur is that it was like the second biggest fortress of Sauron, potentially. It was like one of the biggest in Middle-earth when the Dark Lord was like very powerful, that this was where like the Witch King would dwell, and like several of his like really powerful lieutenants, these like silly stories about like ghostly warriors who used to ride dragons and all this stuff from like ancient history. That always seemed a bit far-fetched to you, but nonetheless, Dol Guldur was like one of the more famous and one of the biggest castles of the Dark Lord. But Ivoriel, you would also know that it was like destroyed in the War of the Ring after Sauron was defeated. The Dol Guldur was like destroyed utterly, razed to the ground, basically.
If there are forces at work here, perhaps they are rebuilding. Whatever once stood here was completely destroyed.
The masters beyond who work the slaves that you can hear laboring, they may know something and more. I think it'd be unwise to pass through deeper into these woods and leave groups like these at our back.
We'll have enemies enough to deal with as we venture deeper. Cannot let these free to sneak up on us in the night. We pass them unchecked.
Those of us with like stealth and woodcraft could approach them hidden until one of us is spotted, and that one, once spied, could draw the enemy to the rest of us in waiting, and we could dispatch them bar one, and then do away with the snugger thereafter.
I could do this with Gelmund. Once spotted, we should be fast enough to outrun them back into your ambush.
Theomar nods, puts down his like shield and like tethers his horse, and gets ready to like make his way as stealthily as he can towards the sound of the orcish industry.
Okay, give me a stealth.
12.
So you like move through the undergrowth in your armor, trying to be quiet, and you can like see them now. You'll see there are 12 like snaga, like little sort of pale orcs. You think they could be goblins even, with like these long arms like up past their knees and these like misshapen sort of bent legs, like each uglier than the last, no matter what order you put them in. And they have these like axes that they're trying to swing at the trees with, but you see that like many of them are weak and like are falling over, or like clearly haven't been fed enough. You can see that there's quite a few of those, and then like standing leaning against a tree is like a proper orc. He's like fully armored, you can see from head to toe. He's got this like long heavy whip in one hand, and his other hand is like resting on the hilt of his sword. He's just like looking out at the orcs, seemingly unconcerned. But that's what you would see for now. And then like there's a telltale like step on some dry leaves, and like one of the snaga will like look up and like look around, and then another will like look in that direction. What was that? Like he looks at the other guy. They're like looking at the two of them, trying to figure out like if there was a noise or not. But it looks like you haven't been detected.
Then I'll crouch closer and shift myself behind a tree and wait till I can hear and see Grimthane spotted by the orcs, and I'll spring an ambush. Unless I see another like proper orc about, I'll have the one you mentioned leaning up against the tree as the guy I'll rush to, say, when the fray is joined for my ready to action.
So you don't spot any other orcs at the moment. You can see, like I say, a lot of the slaves, but you can see like not too far behind that orc. Well, I mean, pretty far, like 150 so feet. That there is a tower there. Not like huge, but it's sort of like, well, more of like a squat tower. Looks like 2 floors maybe. And there's like some tents and stuff like around outside of it. And you can see that there's like an area around here that they've obviously cleared already, with like tree stumps and things like that. Though you don't see any other orcs, you would imagine there might be some there.
If that's the case, can I look back and try and motion and gain the attention of Grimthane to stall his approach?
Yep. You can make a sleight of hand. Yeah.
Okay, I'd rather do sleight of hand if you're happy, but
yeah, I think sleight of hand makes a little bit more sense.
Okay. Doesn't matter when you get a 7, 9.
Yeah, so I think like maybe it's like an attempt at sort of military hand signals that you would have known in the Vigil lands, but then when you do them to the Rohirrim, he's just like doesn't know what the hell is going on, and you like over exaggerate them a little bit, to the point where like one of the Snaga, again, who's like chopping, will like look up and around. But once more does not see you. You can see that they're like nervous, these like Snaga, but it seems like most of them are like more afraid of the orc with the whip than they are whatever seems to be moving in the trees. I guess, Grimthane, though, you would see Theomar like making these like strange gestures at you.
Yeah, I rolled to see if he misinterpreted as okay, charge now, but luckily he didn't.
I'll just say wait then. Yeah, like trying to like with my hand open, like just hold off or something.
Yeah, as he kept progressing, and then you make a very clear like halt signal. Yeah, so he would stop, and he's mounted obviously on for his approach, but still further away. So
Mark, that will. Oh, you go.
I was just going to ask, Lloyd, would Grimthane be able to see the squat tower from his position a bit further back, or?
No, I don't think so. I think it only came into view for Theomar when he got quite close. Because it's like the tree line's very thick, and so it's a pretty specific like angle of view you have to be at to see it.
Yeah, cool.
Theomar will grab out some of the tack from the trail and throw it from behind the tree in the direction of where the Snugger are working. And when he hears like the dunk of it like clump to the ground in their midst as well, I'll roll my stealth check to try and get within striking range of the orc and try and silence him without any affair.
So you throwing food on the ground, is what you said?
Yep, like a hunk of bread or dried pork or whatever it may
be. Yes, you would know that it has to be meat, like orcs don't eat.
Okay.
Human food, yeah, he would know for sure. So maybe like some meat that you have, you like throw it, and like one of the Snagas like looks for a second, and then like does like a double take and sees it, and his eyes widen, and he like moves really quickly over there with the attempt to like pick it up on his own, and then like the others will like see him, and there'll immediately be like this like struggle, as like several of them are like trying to push each other, and you can make me a stealth, my lord.
Okay, that's going to be 17 all up, even with disadvantage.
Okay. Yeah, so the orc, you can see he like turns his head to like look at what's going on, and he like pushes himself off the tree and like is uncoiling the whip, but you're able to like avoid his detection as he like looks at these slaves going nuts about like something that's like dropped onto the floor. And yeah, you'd be able to get within easily within 30 feet or within a movement.
Could I, rather than doing him like damage, like with my blade, could I do a grapple to try and silence him? Like kind of grab my arm around through his throat and crush his windpipe slowly, rather than actually damaging him so he can't yell out to presumably who might be in the tower? Because I want to use my movement to get adjacent to him, grapple him, and then drag him back into the foliage. And then I was going to use my action surge and like stab him repetitively while choking him, while dragging him back into the woods.
Okay, so give me athletics.
Okay. 22.
Okay. So he gets a natural 20.
Shit.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Let me just check what his... That's a 22. Did you say 22?
Yep.
Okay,
Also,
so then it'll work for you because you're the
aggressor.
Yep. So whew, that's close.
Far out. So he'll leap out of the shadows from behind the tree, wrap his mailed arm around the orc's throat. His eyes go wide as he like begins to press, and with what little movements left, he'll begin to like drag the overseer back. And yeah, as I said, I'm going to action surge and stab him in the belly, and then use my sword for that. So that's an 18 on the die, which will be a definite hit.
Yep.
12 piercing damage.
Okay, not quite enough to bloody him in one hit, but still something. Yeah.
Plus, sorry, on top of that for my dueling, so 14.
Okay.
Yeah, just drive it down into his belly with the free arm with the sword in hand while I'm dragging him back.
Yeah, he's like trying to make noise, but he can't. He like can't draw breath. You can hear him like as you like stab into him, and we'll roll initiative. Or actually, he might just attack back rather than have everybody roll initiative. Might make more sense because it probably won't last long enough. So he'll just he's going to try and break the grapple. So if you don't mind, Nico, athletics, please. Oh, fuck.
Same as before, 22.
Yeah. Okay. So he's trying to break free. He's like got one hand in under, which is why he's not dead yet from choking. But he's like pulling and he's not able to like with this angle. And you're taller than him. He's not able to like get the arm away. He's just like. And you can see that he's like reaching down at his side for something. But he's like. Actually, it would be an interaction. He would drop the whip and he would like reach at his side for something, and he would like pull out this thing. I wonder, would you know what it is? You would see his arm come up, and like he's gonna basically try and like swing this thing over his head. But it'll be your turn before he's able to do that. It'll be his action.
Same as before, then just driving the blade down into his belly repetitively. 22 to hit. 11 piercing damage. And for my movement, yeah, just dragging back 15 feet.
Yep. Okay. So at this stage, he'll be 30 feet back from where he was into the tree line. He's still alive. So he's going to swing this thing above his head, and you can hear it start to make this like it's like a hollow sort of piece of wood at the end. And he's going to like start swinging it, although you're quite far away and there's like quite a few trees in between. That's going to be his turn, and then it's yours again.
I'm going to do another grapple to try and knock him prone so I can like pull him back. So like my legs are wrapped, like I'm behind him, my legs wrapped around his, one hand around his throat, stabbing in the belly from the side such that his arm would be hitting into the ground rather than like letting that alarm blare off.
Yeah.
12.
He's actually, wearing armor. And so the sword will like...
Oh, sorry, no, that's my athletics check to prone him. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me see. Fuck. Yeah, he gets an 8. So he'll be knocked prone, and he'll onto the ground, and he's can't swing the thing.
I imagine one of the orcs like scurrying for the bits of pork, like look up, hearing the noise of his collapse, but just see like dancing foliage, and then back to the crumbs.
Yeah, definitely. And there's another one who like sees what's happening, and like rather than say anything, just like has this like wicked smile as he sees like his tormentor being dragged away, and he'll just like turn back and like elbow one of the other snaggers in the eye as he like reaches down to grab the pork. Okay, so it's Koth's turn, and he is going to try and break the grapple.
14.
5. Okay, your turn.
Yeah, I'll just drive the blade down into him now. I have advantage on this because he's prone, so it'll be 16 to hit all up.
Yep.
I'll keep the grapple. I won't use my bonus action, so it'll be 9 slashing damage.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Can I, for flavor's sake, wound him grievously, nearly unto death, but not quite give him the finishing blow?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, just like totally like on the edge, like Death Door's barely conscious, and like skull drag him before the assembled snugger.
They're like fighting, and you can hear them like calling each other names and stuff as they're like one of them like has the piece of pork in his teeth, and another one is like with his claws like trying to pull it out of his mouth. And like the ones on the outside will like stop and like look, and those two will continue like fighting and struggling until like one of the other orcs they're like elbowing them in the ribs, and then they all turn and look.
I'll address them as scum and ask if they were like born from some fell hoven here or came into the Darkwood to dwell.
They like look between each other, not sure who's supposed to talk. None of them really want to.
He looks to the tallest.
Misty mountains.
Go back there or pass through me and back to further slavery. Tell me who dwells in that tower there over.
A bagger. 2 others. Uruks, big like him.
Do they serve Black Blade or Red Tusk?
He like thinks about it. The Weeper, Black Blade.
And the Burnt Lord, what do you know of him?
A few of them like recoil at the mention, and like shake their heads.
Here, take the vengeance that burns so hot in your kind, and he'll kick the badly wounded Uruk tormentor into their bloodthirsty midst.
Yeah, they'll descend upon him without a second's thought, and then you'll see like some of them like ripping pieces of clothing out, and then like muscles, and like they'll devour him.
How many are there all up? 10, as we'd guessed
12.
from hearing. I think Theomar hates orcs so much that when they descend on their tormentor, that's when he hefts the blade in 2 hands and like cuts down into their mass.
Yeah, I think at that stage that Grimthane and Ivoriel would like see what's been happening, and I think like any sort of ideas of stealth would be out the window at this stage.
Yeah, there'd probably be a couple I could cut down before they just start screaming and scattering. But I figure it's better to fight Uruks out of a tower than in one.
Yeah, like the Snagger are like screaming and will like not try to fight. But Grimthane and Ivoriel, it's really up to you guys.
Yeah, I think as soon as Theomar swung his blade into their mass, Grimthane would have raised his spear and shield and spurred on his his horse to try and ride some of them down as they began to scatter.
Ivoriel has her bow out and an arrow knocked and will try and catch some of them as they flee.
Yeah, they're like scattering all around, and you can hear them like shouting and like crying and screaming as they like run. And like the sharper eyed among you would see like at the slave quarters, like the few tents and stuff outside of the tower, you would see an orc like step outside and look in the direction of where the slaves are supposed to be, and then would like take in the situation, understand vaguely what's happening, and he's going to go back inside and vanish from view. Yeah, you can chase down the rest of these Snaga without like they're not a threat to you. So like weak and pathetic are they? And so like Grimthane, you're able to like ride a bunch of them down, and Ivoriel, you can shoot several of them. The ones that like Theomar hasn't sliced in half with his blade, but then you're like left among these tree stumps. It seems like no one's coming out of that tower.
Did Grimthane and Ivoriel see that orc that came out of the tower? Sorry, or was that just Theomar?
Yep, I think you all would have seen him. He would have like stepped outside briefly and had a look, and he probably did like the sort of like he would have sneered and like muttered something to himself that you wouldn't be able to hear that, and then he would like make a decision and go back inside.
Grimthane wheels around as he finishes running down one of the last Snugger and calls to Theomar. Calls to all three of the companions. I saw another over there at the tower. He went back inside.
Let us see if we can rouse them to come out and face us, or else use their slaves' lumber to smoke them out. And he'll like pull his sword out of struggling Snagger and move towards the tower.
Yeah, you'll see the building actually looks not unlike the tower that the spider had been in. Similar kind of construction, sort of squat tower. You think like maybe 2 floors. And the actual door itself is you'd need a small ladder to get to the door. It's probably like 6 feet up off the ground. And like that door is like firmly shut. You can see like several arrow slits. And as you like stand looking upon it, you would see like climbing out onto the roof or like where the crenellations are. There's an orc.
Ivoriel, bring him down, he'll shout in Cinderin, pointing up to the figure aloft.
Yes, if he's within range, she'll draw back and shoot.
Go for it.
15 to hit.
And no, it'll hit off the one of the crenellations, and he'll like chuckle, and then he'll like say something quietly, and there will be a response. So there's like this crossbow bolt that and thuds into the dirt next to you, Theomar, followed by like an arrow that says for you, Ivoriel, but this one will hit with a 19 on the die. For only 5 points of damage, it'll like graze your shoulder and like thunk into the dirt. And the orcs will like squat down behind the crenellations.
I'm going to rush forward and dodge, like ducking and weaving as arrows fly.
And I think Grimthane would try and raise his shield to catch the bolt that caught Ivoriel on the shoulder, but is too slow to do so. And then, yeah, similarly, spurs on Galmond to try and maybe take cover directly up against the tower, maybe. We'll see if there's a little alcove.
Yeah, if you like run right up to the tower, it will be possible to like. It'll be very hard for them to hit you with anything. You think? So I'm just doing the initiative list up. I should have done that a long time ago. We've just been kind of in this like vague half initiative for a while. Before it's on 10. Okay, so Grimpen, you'll like run up to the side of the castle, the tower, and like try and press yourself and your horse against it to avoid missile fire. Is that what the idea was?
Yeah. And then so far we saw the one up the very top, or did others appear with the crossbows?
Yeah, you can see that there's two more up there.
Okay, cool. All up the top. What he'd probably do then actually is dismount and try and tie Galmond up, hitch her there in relative safety, and then race back away from the tower, try and take cover in some trees and pull out his own bow.
Okay. Blaga at the top of the tower, he is going to do something that you cannot see, and then several moments later there'll be like a Ivoriel.
Can I still see him or one of the others?
So you know that they're up there, but they have like 3/4 cover.
I'm gonna still try and shoot if I can. How does that work?
You just take a shot. They just have +5 AC.
Okay. 21.
21 will actually hit. Yep.
I should see how much damage this does. I wasn't expecting that to hit. Sorry. Okay. 5 damage.
5. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So you hear like a satisfying like, and from one of the orcs atop the tower. Is that it for you?
Yeah, and then she'll move the horse back and be slightly into the trees where she's not as easy a target.
Okay. Okay, Zog. So one of these orcs is going to pop his head up for a second. He's going to fire a crossbow bolt, this time at you, Theomar. You're dodging, right?
It depends if I was able to do that, if it was an initiative or not. If not, my AC, well, either way, my AC is 20. Oh, sorry, I don't have my shield, so it's 18.
Okay. He didn't quite hit 18. So it'll probably like scrape against the shoulder pauldron of your armor, but won't pierce it. As he like ducks back down, you can hear him like swear in black speech, and you can hear like the cranking of the crossbow. And then it's your turn.
How far am I from the arrow slits?
From the arrow slits?
Yeah.
Well, they're quite high up, you know.
Okay, and then on top of the 6 feet, like ladder climb up to what was the closed door?
Yeah, so there's like the only way into this place is like there's like a ladder that leads up to a door. Does that make sense? And the door is closed.
Mhm.
Other than that, like
Okay.
the arrow slits
The
are
arrow-
all in the second story, you know.
Sorry, I thought the arrow slits were in the door. It was like slots that open up and fire from the door.
No.
In that case, yeah, I'll rush. I'll use my full movement to get as close to the door as I can, and then dodge.
Okay. Yep. No problem. You can get like right to the door. Okay. Orgol is gonna pop up and he's gonna try and shoot. Let's see. Grimthane. It's a crit. Oh my god. You have been unlucky with those. It's gonna be 15 damage.
Oh dang.
Oh dang.
Did we have a rest between last session? I should have asked earlier.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where you would have had a rest.
No, that's cool.
I'm going to use these serious injuries, so I would like from you a D10, please.
Seven on the D10.
Okay, so the bolt will like scrape along. It'll like find a gap just under where your pauldron is as you like maybe pull back to take a shot. It'll like smash in there pretty deep, and you think that like pulling out that arrow is going to be a nightmare, particularly with the way that orcs make arrows, and that will like leave you with a scar for the rest of your days. But that's the worst of it, thankfully.
Whew.
Okay, and then it's your turn.
Right. Rough. So, I mean, yeah, by this point, he'd left Greenwood near the tower and come back and sat his shield and spear next to him as he pulled out his bow and was probably stringing it as he cocked this bolt to the shoulder, was it? And
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And just curses. maybe for a brief moment, puts his hand on the shaft of the arrow of the bolt and tugs it and just leaves that for later, and tries as best he can to knock an arrow and shoot it up to ideally the one that just struck him.
Orgol.
Oh, good roll on the die. So 23 towards Orgol to hit.
Yep, that'll do it.
Excellent. All right, and that is 7 damage.
7. Okay. Yeah, he's still up, but you can hear a satisfying, like wet, like connection, and then like a from the orc in pain.
Okay, actually, no, he doesn't have his second move or action surge. He used them last game. Never mind. I think maybe he'll actually stagger back forward again into the relative cover of being next to his horse because he's not in a good way.
Okay. Yep. So you can like run across the sort of no man's land and skid next to Galmond.
Yeah. So he'd grab his spear and shield and maybe try and hold his shield above his head as he staggers forward. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Baga once again. This like sonorous and low sort of horn blow comes from within the tower. And then it's Ivoriel's turn.
Ivoriel takes aim again, but the arrow bounces off the rampart. It's unsatisfying. She makes a face.
Okay. Zog is going to pop his head up. He's like looking to shoot Grimthane, but he's not there anymore, and so he like looks around and sees you, I guess, Ivoriel. I'm going to keep Arahel out of the combat because I don't have his character sheet, and I didn't like put in extra dudes. So yes, Zog's going to try and shoot you, Ivoriel, since Theomar's at the door already. That might do it. 17.
That'll hit.
Definitely.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was at me.
Nope, it's me. That definitely hits.
Okay, 8 damage.
Ow.
And I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Ooh. I don't like the sound of that. Oh, shit. 7?
I think even in your most optimistic, you know that that's not going to succeed.
No, there's not a chance.
So like this like arrow, you can see it's like covered in black goo as it like hits into you, and as you like pull it out, you can feel like the sting. You have the poisoned condition for 1 minute. So you like begin to like feel woozy and like warm and flushed from that. That was Zog. Theomar.
How solid does this door look? What's it made of?
It's wood. It doesn't look like it's the original door. It doesn't look like, how to explain? It doesn't look like the kind of like it came with the tower, if you know what I mean. Like it looks like this is like some wood that they have like put here, rather than like it doesn't look like it's like iron bolted or like reinforced.
Mm-hmm. Can I use like a nearby rock or the pommel of my sword to try and smash at the hinges or braces that hold up the door?
Yes. You'll have to like climb that ladder. So I'll say it's hard to do that and be climbing up. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like you have to like be on the ladder and then also be attacking up at the door.
I see. Oh, okay, it's not like a platform. So
like you climb up like literally like vertically up, and then the door like kind of almost has to be open for you to then you like climb over the lip into the thing. So like it would be like it's doable, but it'd be tricky for you to like swing then at the thing. So it would just be disadvantage, I think, to try and break it down.
I'll take the disadvantage. Yeah, no good. It's a 7 for myself. So I'm just like hacking away at it, but I miss twice, both times like hitting the stonework, missing the hinge or bracket. And yeah, don't have dodge anymore. Ugh.
Okay. Orgol is going to pop his head up. And he's he was going to once again shoot Grimtane, but doesn't see him anywhere. But he will hear the doof, doof, doof at the door, and he's going to crawl over there and like look down. He's not going to be able to shoot directly down with his crossbow, and so he's going to try and throw something at you instead. He'll throw a knife, Theomar, at you, but he misses. It goes bounces off some of the fine Vigilment plate, boom, and like hits into the dirt. That'll be Orgol's turn. Grimthane.
Grimthane swiftly mounts Galmund, unhitches her from the bit of stone on the tower that he may have tied her to, and wheels around, seeing what Thamar's trying to achieve with the door, and reaches into one of the saddlebags on Galmund and pulls out a rope, and tosses one end of it up to Theomar, if you can. And says, fasten it on. We'll try and break it out this way. And I guess
will smile and reach out to catch it.
Yeah, you could do so and begin fastening it.
Excellent. And then I suppose Grimthane just prepares to try and pull it off next turn. Because would that have been his action to throw the rope, I suppose?
That would be an interaction. You'd still have an action if you wanted to do something.
Dodge action.
Yeah.
Nice. So he's holding his shield up while he's waiting for Theomar to fasten this thing. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm doing some fancy footwork on Gulmund.
So then you hear like as you're like trying to tie the rope, another from inside, and then you can hear the of Bagger making his way back up onto the roof, and he's like shouting at the other two in black speech.
Anything of note?
No, just like the usual sort of orcish like encouragement.
Yeah.
You know,
Threat.
of kill them basically, over and over. Bagger's obviously the leader. You can tell by the way that he talks and that he's like more heavily armed than the other two. And he like stands at the top and seems content to do that. If Oriel, your turn.
And so Avoriel is watching what her companions are doing as they're trying to break the door. And these guys, are they visible right now, or are they mostly hidden from their cover?
So what they're doing is they're behind the crenellations of the tower, so they're like popping up to take their turn with their movement, and then just popping back down with the rest of their movement. They're literally like standing up and squatting, so they can like pop out and shoot, and then they have like, I mean, really they have full cover, but like three quarters cover.
Okay. So I think she will scooch a little closer behind one of the trees because she's not feeling so great after that arrow struck her with the poison on it, and she will hold her action so that when one of them pops up, she might have a clearer shot.
Okay.
Preferably the bigger one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, Baga is the biggest one, but you haven't seen him at all. It's been the other two, Zog and Orgal. As you like get ready and like maybe pull the bow a little bit back in preparation, you'll see Zog like hungrily pop his head back up, and you can take a shot now.
And I'm at disadvantage for poisoned, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. No. No, it her arm is a little weak and her hand shakes, and it thunks uselessly against the stone.
You hear the of crossbow bolt like whipping past your ear, but missing you, and like thunking into the dirt in response. Thamar.
He grabs the braided rope, feeds it up into like whatever he can discern as some kind of loop or weak part of the door, and knot it back upon itself, and then like scurry down a couple of rungs of the ladder and turn to Thamar and shout, "Now!" And I'll ready. Actually, I won't ready an action. I will just dodge, and that's it for me.
Okay. Yep. It's ready to go, and I guess you would hear Grimthane like kick, maybe not kick, gently persuade his horse to begin running.
Yeah.
Okay. Orgal is going to pop his head up. Now he sees nobody, but he's going to try and throw another knife at you, Thamar, but you're dodging. Nope, he's useless. So he's just like throwing these like little knives down in your direction, but nothing connects through your thick armor. He looks towards Baga, and you can hear Baga say something now that does catch your attention. The wind is howling with wolf voices.
Oh shit.
And like Orlog will like giggle at that, and then it's back to the top with Grimthane.
Yeah, so Grimthane, spurs on Gulmund to try and tear this door off its hinges.
Yep. I don't even think it requires a check. It's a horse, a really big horse. And so with the rope, you're able to like gather up some speed, and then there's like this creaking and crack, and then like splinters and wood will like fly over your head, Thamar, as you like try and keep your head down. And the door is like pulled off the tower.
Excellent. You look behind him and see that the task is done, and let go of the rope from his hand, and heft his spear, Algar again, and wheel around, come back up to the tower, and and then he would just want to dismount and then try and ascend the ladder as well. So he couldn't do all that this turn, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you could definitely get back there, probably. But then, like, dismounting his movement stuff, I would say it's easier as well for you to like jump from the horse into the tower than it is to like get off and climb the ladder, because it's.
Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, you can like make your way most of the way there. Baga is going to move down the stairs, hearing the door break, and he is going to take the dodge action. And Ivoriel.
Ivoriel is doing much the same. She's waiting until she can get a good look at one of these orcs who pop up, who seem to be dropping rocks or knives or something. It's hard for her to tell from where she is.
Yeah, and your vision is blurry as well, it seems, or like fading in and out of blurriness. But you can definitely see the telltale, like, sort of raw pink skin of Zog as he like sticks his head up again to try and shoot you with a crossbow, and you can take a shot.
13.
That will not do it, unfortunately. But Zog once again misses you. Sails past you, and Tamar, it's your turn.
I clamber up the ladder and move into the tower. What can I see in there?
So on this like level, you would see that like there's a 10-foot like indent, I guess, and with like a stairs at the end, like a pretty steep stairs that leads up to like a proper level. So this like you're like in this little, like it's been cut out of the floor almost, and like standing at the top of those stairs is like quite a large orc. You would say an Uruk, definitely. He's like got his head turned to the side, and he's like licking his teeth. Looks like he has no lips. And he like looks down, and you can hear his like rattly breathing. And beyond that, like there are doors on either side as you like come up the stairs. And then behind that orc, there's like a spiral staircase that leads up.
Is this Bagger the one who was shouting out?
Yes.
I'll say, Bagger who hides in towers, come and face me, bane of better orcs than you. I'll grab the blade in 2 hands and rush at him and dodge. And that's it for me.
A lot of sense. Okay, Thamar Orgol. He's going to try and throw a knife at you now, Grimthane. But he misses. So you actually, I mean, he doesn't even miss. It's just like not effective. It hits you with the blunt end, like in the arm. And you can like look down at it somewhat derisively, and then back up to Orlog, who's like this little cowering orc, and he's going to like begin to move down the stairs also. And it's your turn, Grimthane.
Excellent. So I haven't quite leapt from my horse into the opening yet, have I? That will be the start of this turn. Yeah, yep. Cool.
You can do that.
So
now.
That's great. He's charging forward and sort of deflects or sees this dagger just miss him as he's coming up, and leaps through. Attempts to leap off his horse through the doorway. Spear and shield in hand.
Yep. You can just make athletics or acrobatics, either or.
16 athletics.
Yep. No hassle. So like you can stand up in the saddle, like. And get ready, like no problem for Rohirrim, and like leap from the saddle into the doorway and like skid, or maybe roll up to your feet behind Thamar, and you can see this also this like large orc looming in the doorway.
Right, so that large orc is between me and Orgol, the one that's been piercing me with various things.
Yep, Orgol is like, I guess you would see, he's like moving, he would be behind him, almost like comically, as if like a bully had said something, and then Orgol leaned out and went, yeah, you know, like literally like that. But this Baga, like, is he doesn't even look like the other orcs you've seen. Like, he's more twisted, and there's something like more unsettling about him. Like, he has no lips, like he's done that to himself almost, it looks like. So he just has like snarling teeth and like various like things pierced in his skin, and like, yeah, it's just a different kind of look, something like off about him.
And it definitely stirs upon Grimthane's courage, I think. He's never faced such a foe as this himself. So, yeah, I think as he sort of rolls to his feet and in a split second assesses the situation, I think he looks to his side and sees with Theomar beside him, I think he'll take the... Oh, how far away? How many feet from ahead of them is the Uruk?
He's just like up the stairs, so he's probably 10 feet ahead of Theomar.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think Grimthane would press in close beside Theomar with his shield out, taking the dodge action as they press forward, without trying as best he can to not get in Theomar's way, because he knows very well that Theomar is more experienced in fighting these foul creatures.
Cool. Sounds good. Okay, Baga is going to sort of snort derisively. All right then, and he'll like take some steps forward. He's got this like curved, sort of serrated sword, and he like takes a few steps down the stairs, and then will like swing with it towards you, Theomar. He's got disadvantage because of dodge. Okay, so a 15.
That misses. Ching!
Okay, and he will then make a secondary attack. That's a 17.
That hits.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, that second one.
Yeah.
Did that have disadvantage already on it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
He's dodging. Okay. So it'll be 11 slashing damage from this like big sword that will like slash down. And he'll say again, the winds howl with the voices of wolves. Can you hear them singing? As he like slashes out, he doesn't seem afraid. And then it will be Ivoriel's turn, and you can hear Ivoriel, a worrying, like it sounds like padding and like running in the forest.
Ivoriel will get on the horse and go closer to the tower, crossing the open space and taking the dodge action as she goes to come and tell the others that something is coming.
Yeah, so I imagine like the two of you are inside, you're like fighting this insane lipless orc, and then you can hear Ivoriel at the doorway shouting that something's on the way. Okay, Zog is at the top of the tower still. He is going to run down the stairs and then try and shoot over Baga's shoulder towards... well, he's not going to try and shoot Thamer because he's in combat. So he's going to try and shoot you, Grimthane, but you are dodging as well, I think so. Yeah, he'll miss. He'll only get a 6. So he'll like bring the crossbow up and like try and point it, and then just like uselessly it'll like skitter against one of the flagstones behind you, Grimthane, and that will be it for Zog. Thamor. Are you muted, Nico?
So is Baga adjacent to Grimthane, or should I say is Grimthane adjacent to me?
Grimthane's adjacent to you, but I think it's like Grimthane, then you, then the orc, and I think it's like too narrow for you both to be. Well, no, you could like squeeze in, but it's like quite a narrow little, like deliberately, it's like a narrow place. Designed in the tower, you know.
I think unless you sort of urged him away, Grimthane would be in quite close with his shield, trying to sort of protect between both of you, because that seems to be his hand-to-hand fighting style, from what you can surmise.
Yeah, am I able to push past or squish past Bagger to flank him and put my back to Zog?
Yeah, you can. You could like move through, or like around him. Like you're not gonna leave his. I don't know what you call it. You're not gonna cause an attack of opportunity. You're just like you're not moving outside of his range, right? Yeah. So then, yes.
Okay, I'll draw a shorter blade with my offhand with an interaction, and I'll shout out to Avorial and Arahel to horse, wolves, and like fell allies of these orcs, come. And I doubt we will overwhelm them beforehand. And with that, trying to like put himself between Zog and the other one, Ogol, and then the rest of the party, he'll begin hacking into the exposed back of Bagger, once with the Drake slaying blade and once with a short sword. So it'll be a crit for the first and 19 on the dice for the second.
Nice.
It's going to be a hit.
Yep, they'll both hit.
D6. 19 piercing damage.
For both?
No, all up.
Okay, yeah.
That's everything all up. And that's it for me.
And then I need a D10, please.
Of course. 7 again.
Hard to explain how that's a minor scar, but so it is. Orcs are surprisingly durable, and so like you cut him deep, and if he ever manages to make it out of here alive, he'll remember that scar made by the dragon slaying blade. Okay, but that's going to be it for Theomar. So then Orgal, he is going to see the opportunity. He's going to run up behind you and try and shank you in the back.
I was waiting for it. He'll have advantage too.
He sure will. That's going to be 20 all up, which will hit you. And he
Grimthane, can I use my reaction to impose disadvantage using my
we're not adjacent anymore.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Yeah. I'm flat. I gave up the armor to get the hit.
That's right. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will be 7 points of piercing damage all up.
I'm bloodied.
So as you're fighting this like great foe, like you can like feel behind you like a sudden shift in space, and then like the searing agony of like a knife in the back of the thigh, as this like orc takes his pathetic chance, and then it's back to Grimthane.
Yeah. So he heard Voriel calling out, and then what Thamar calling out to horses. So he can hear the wolves approaching as well, I gather, himself.
I don't know if you would hear them yet, but you would know that Avoriel had said they were coming.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I mean, especially knowing that his horse Garmund is outside, and who's, much more than a horse to him, his closest friend, really. So I think his first instinct would be to immediately break and leap out onto Garmund, but knowing that they've got 3 horses between the 4 of them, he'll probably need to share the saddle with Theomar, and Theomar's just edged himself around further into this tower, more or less. So he might have to try and... So is it basically at the moment Grimthane, then Barga, and then Theomar? Or is it kind of he's
like a flank up the stairs?
Yep. Yeah. So it's you, and then Baga, and then Theomar, and then Orgal at the back.
Yeah. Oh, and are we all on a sort of staircase at the moment? Or are we
Yeah, so
on a
you're
flat
at
landing?
the bottom of the staircase, and
Yeah. Okay.
Theomar's at the top of it.
Okay. I think what Grimthane will do then is call out to Theomar. Theomar, we must flee. The wolves will devour us all, and try and give him some advantage by
Flee. Bagga's like snickering and laughing.
And he's going to try and either sweep or stab Bagga in the leg, given that they're on the sort of slope in the staircase here.
Yep, you can go for it. He's chuckling and saying, "It's been a long time since I've had man flesh."
Oh no! Do we have any sort of flanking?
Yeah.
It'll be advantage. Okay. Oh my god! I rolled 2 both times. So that's a 8 to hit.
Yeah, that's not going to do it. And I think like intimidated by the huge orc and his like sinister manner, maybe affects Grimthane a lot more than he'd like to admit.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Bagga is like chuckling and like looking between you. He like looks up you, Theomar, and like licks his teeth because he has no lips to lick, and is going to try and attack you. He has flanking with Orgol. That's going to be a 19 on the die there for the first.
I'll just get me.
And the second's a 16 on the die. So 20. Yeah, both hit. This is going to suck. 14 for the first. And 11 for the second.
Yeah, I'm down.
So Bagga like strikes out with this big curved sword. The first one maybe like knocks your sword down, and the second one is going to like actually connect into the arm, and then he'll like grab the front of your gorget or whatever, and then just like smash his like metal plated forehead into yours, and like drop you down onto the ground, and then will like turn towards you, Grimthane, and like lick his teeth again. Ivoriel, you can hear now, and you can hear the of approaching canines, it seems.
Ivoriel is looking over her shoulder to the mass in the staircase, and she will hold her action until she can see one of these creatures, whatever it is, coming out of the darkness. But she is beginning to feel this panic, this real fear of being overwhelmed.
Yeah, it does not look good. And you know that like any sort of I guess you would know of orcs that they like will ride wargs and that they're like often allied with them. Okay, Zog is halfway down the stairs. He's going to try and shoot you, Grimthane, with his crossbow. But misses. It's going to be for Zog. Theomar, that's save.
Success.
Okay. Orgol is behind you. He's going to hit you and cause an auto fail. He's going to like shank down into you as you're like unconscious. And then it's back to you, Grimthane.
Is that melee?
Sorry?
Was that a melee hit from Orgol?
Yes.
Sorry, who did Orgol hit?
Me.
Theomar. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. Oh god.
Yeah, so like Theomar falls to the ground and this like orc just like stabs his knife down into him. And it's your turn, Grimthane.
Yeah, Grimthane's just completely wild-eyed at the moment. he's got basically funnel vision. His single purpose is to try and grab Theomar and somehow get out onto the horse, get him and the unconscious Theomar onto Galmund and flee. So I think he would call out to Ivoriel and Arahel, "Flee! We'll be behind you if we can." And just tries to grab Theomar and basically drag him down the stairs and try and leap onto the horse. So, but he's got to basically try and drag Theomar past Baga, doesn't he?
Yeah, Baga will make an opportunity attack.
Okay.
Oh, he misses. Oh,
yes.
5 on the dice, so 12 all up, which I imagine misses you.
Yes.
So you can feel this like of the sword like going over your head as you're like dragging Theomar away and like out or down towards the doorway. And like Baga doesn't even seem to be chasing you. He's just like laughing. But he'll like follow, sort of dragging his sword like against the wall, like that awful sort of screeching sound, and like sparks as he like follows slowly behind you as you drag Theomar out towards the doorway. He will. Oh, it's his turn. How far could you get? You can drag. Can you grapple with? Oh, you're not grappling though, because he's unconscious. I think you probably move half speed. So
yeah,
you could get to the doorway. You could probably either throw yourself or Theomar onto your horse.
Okay, he would definitely throw Theomar.
Yep, your horse is like well enough trained that she'll like stay and won't like lose her composure here at this vital moment. She'll like stand there as you like put Theomar's body onto Galmund.
Galmund, yeah, he'll be calling out to her in Rohirric to try and steady her and maneuver her a little bit into the right position. And he'll try and throw him so that he's sort of slumped over the saddle, I suppose, so that he can be held by gravity.
Baga is, like I say, walking down that hallway, like screeching the blade against the stone, and like sees you throw the body, and he like chuckles once again. That's my dinner. And he's going to try and attack you. For a 14.
Not tonight.
And a 16.
Both miss.
Okay, yeah, so he swings over your head, and the second, like, there's not enough space here in the thin sort of doorway for him to swing the big sword. And then it's Ivoriel.
Ivoriel has heard Grimthane's yell, and she spurs the horse onward. Do the noises seem to be coming from a certain direction? Because she's going to go the other way.
Yes, they are coming from west. So if you were like to continue the way you had been going, that's where they're coming from. You know, so if you were to continue, like you were going west basically for the last few days, so you have to go back the way you came, basically.
Absolutely, she would begin moving that way, but still have her bow at the ready, and she's turning in the saddle as she goes, waiting for a sight of whatever things are coming.
Yeah, and you can see them now, like bursting out of the tree line. There's 2 of them, wargs, like bigger than wolves, with like these strange sort of flat heads, and like this like animal intelligence. You know that like some wargs can even speak. They have like their own language, and like they burst out of the tree line and like search around quickly, like their huge heads sort of swiveling, and one of them will like lock on you and begin moving towards, while the other is going to like run around to the tower.
Yeah, she lets the arrow fly, but her vision is fading in and out, and she feels the sickness in her, and it thunks into the dirt uselessly.
Unfortunate. That was the wargs also went on your turn, basically. They will continue to go there. Zog is going to run back up the stairs and now like shoot out down again towards you, Avoriel. But he misses. So another past you, not connecting. Thamar, death save, please.
Here we go. Success.
Okay.
2 fails.
Nerve-wracking. Orcal is going to creep and like basically like stand behind Baga, and he's going to try and shank you to death, Grimthane, in this final moment. He rolls a 6, so he does not do it, unfortunately. Would have been too good that you like dodge the big guy and then this little shit Orlog gets you. So he like tries to slice at you, but you're just about out the door and onto your horse, and it's your turn.
Oh man. Yeah. So it slices just the air just behind him as he takes one last grim look at this disfigured Uruk in front of him with the huge curved sword and the bared teeth bared. Theomar's blood on the blade and dripping through the hall, and it's all sort of happening in slow motion for him as he hears the wolves arriving. Wonders what fate Avoriel and Arahale are at. He's just too in the moment to take stock of whether they're here or not. All that exists is now is him and Theomar thrown over Galmund, and he turns, holding his shield behind him as best he can as he takes this final leap and tries to land on Galmund.
Yeah, I don't think there's any hassle there. Like it's for you, leaping onto Galmund is like falling into your bed. They're going to make parting swings though as you like move away from them. Orlog has missed you, but now we come to Baga. That's a fucking crit. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus.
As long as he lands on the horse, Galmund will know what to do. He can take these 2 corpses.
Oh, come on. Yeah, this is...
He can't impose disadvantage with his reaction or anything?
on
No,
himself? I don't think on himself.
Yeah, I can only do it for other people, yeah.
Oh, dang.
16.
Damage.
Yeah.
Okay. He's definitely out. But what's the rule for auto death?
Auto death?
It has to equal your total hit points in one go.
Not half. Okay, good.
Yeah. Can you roll me a d10?
Yes. 6.
Psychological effect. Interesting. And another d10?
9.
Okay. Well, we'll see if that comes to pass if you wake up. So I'm going to say that because it's Middle Earth, you do fall onto your horse as opposed to like into the dirt and break your neck, which is probably what would happen in Iscloft. You'll like fall, and the horse will like position herself to like catch you, and it will begin thundering as fast as she can away, though there is like a warg chasing after her. That was Grimthane. Baga is going to stand in the doorway of the tower, and he's going to like bellow at the wargs. After them. Ivoriel.
Ivoriel is on the horse and riding as fast as she possibly can away from this place and these wargs and the orcs, and it seems certain death. So I'll be... Can I double move on a horse?
Yeah. You won't actually make the full distance in Mirkwood because it's so thick.
Yeah.
But neither will the warg. So, you can dash basically and move as fast as you can. Okay, so you're barreling through. You're getting like whipped by occasional like low-hanging little branches and twigs and stuff. Imagine there's like cuts on your face, and you like lift one of your arms to try and protect your eyes as you're just like as your horse is. Arahel, like next to you, is like turning in a saddle and trying to fire at the wargs, in the way that like only really elves can do. And you can hear them behind you. Like you can hear the thunder of like the horses, but the thunder of the warg is very different. It's like when you see like a dog run on like a smooth surface and you can see like their legs going everywhere. Like that's what it looks like. They're just like barreling into trees and snarling as they try and keep up. So we're going to do a skill challenge. It's just going to be you, Taylor, because you're the only conscious person. So I'm going to need you to pick 3 skills that you think make sense for a chase.
I have a very important question. How many rounds does this chase last? Like, are we still in initiative order?
No, we're out of initiative at this stage.
Okay, I'm like halfway through my poisoned rounds.
Okay, then you will have disadvantage.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, you guys. 3 skills, you said?
Yep.
What am I best at?
I would say animal handling. Animal handling has to be one, I would say. But beyond that, like other ones that make sense are like insight, athletics, deception, maybe to like throw them off or something like that, you know.
Yeah, we'll do deception, and you said I have to do animal handling.
Yep.
And could I argue for like an investigation to see another way around?
Do not hurt yourself stretching those muscles. That is cheeky. I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'll go with probably perception or nature to try and find a path through the trees.
Okay.
Okay. Oh my god, this is supremely nerve-wracking. And I'm at disadvantage. Yeah,
you're poisoned, right?
Yep, for like another 5 rounds. Because it was a minute. Okay, we'll start with animal handling first. 16. So 16 total.
That's actually a success.
Okay. That was animal handling.
Yeah, so you're able to like control the horse, and between you and Arahel, you're able to like control also the Rahuric horse. Between the two of you, you're like steering the 3 horses and like trying to keep them under control and not panic at the smell of the wargs.
Yeah, she's trying to whistle and call to the horse like she heard Grimthane. And it's difficult. There's so much to concentrate on. Let's see. I've already forgotten what they say was next. Nature or perception. They have the same bonus, so it doesn't matter. 15 on the die. 18 on the die. Oh my god. They have 0 bonus, so 15 is my low one.
15 is the correct number. Okay, so you...
I'm so nervous.
You can like remember the route that you took with nature and like try and find your way back. Although the question is like, are you trying to move your way back into the spider territory or like around it? You're like thundering in that direction anyway. And what was the last thing you did? perception. I guess you're like looking out for ways here and there.
Yeah.
You could like throw them off.
So that would be the next rolls that I make. That one was 15 at because I have disadvantage.
Oh, I see.
That was 15 for nature. So I still have another roll I could fail. Yeah, so I think probably perception makes a decent amount of sense. I am going to be, if I can skirt around where the spiders were. If not, then we'll just barrel through it. And just hope that we're fast enough. Oh shit, that was a 10. And a 2.
Okay. So you're like trying to perceive ways through the undergrowth, and you can like see the sort of spidery domain ahead, and you're like trying to think like, how can I get around this? How can I not go through? But it's just like there's no time, and you're just. So it's 2 successes, 1 fail. You're gonna have to get either 3 successes or 3 fails. So another skill.
Oh, I have to keep going. Oh no. Could I do acrobatics? As we're going through to keep on the horse and to keep dodging out of branches and spider webs.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. 12 on the die. That's a 15 total for that one. Got a 5 on the die, so an 8.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So 2 successes, 2 fails. You're like trying to keep 100 things in your mind at once, and you're getting battered by these like branches and things, and you've got like definitely a black eye on the way from like smashing into one of these sort of branches at pretty fast speed. You can hear them behind you, though you can't see them currently. Like still behind, and you can see like that Grimthane's horse is like struggling with the weight of the 2 to keep up with Arahel's horse and your own. So you got 1 more dice roll. No big deal, but this probably is the most important dice roll of all time.
Thanks, Lloyd. I really appreciate not adding any pressure to it. Okay.
You won't fail us.
Yeah, no, of course not.
So like other skills that would make sense, survival. I think maybe deception would make sense, trying to throw them off. Insight could potentially make sense for.
Yeah. We'll do deception to try and change the path around if I can. Throw them off the trail as we're going through this spider territory. See if I could lead them into a nest or something. Come on.
Roll high.
Oh god, I hope so. 14 for that one. I don't think that's going to be enough. 16 for that one.
This is disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any pluses?
That was with the plus.
Okay, so 14 doesn't make it. Okay, so you're like trying to throw them off the scent. You like even run across like a stream, and you can like feel like the water like splash up onto you, and like one of the horses like screams a little bit as it hurts itself a little as you're like running through this insanity, and then you like hope that you like hear them stop, but you don't. You just hear them like splash through the water behind you, and they like gain on you very, very quickly. Like snapping at the back of the horses. I'm trying to think about like how this would go. I don't think that there's a way, unless it was really long distance, that a horse would outrun a warg, and it hasn't been that long. So let's have a smoke, and I will think about what happens next, because I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Wargs take prisoners, right?
In their belly, in the prison of their belly.
Yeah. Okay, we'll have a quick break there, and we'll be back in like 5.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Oh, geez, that's a lot of rolls to put on one character.
And at disadvantage. Like, oh, that fucking
I know.
poison arrow.
That
Why did
damn
I fail the
poison.
con save?
Oh my god. Hey, I mean, it could have been the poison from the spiders last round, and then you'd just be catatonic for 24 hours again. So I suppose it could be worse.
Yeah, but this time I've doomed all of us. That one would have just doomed me.
Oh man.
I need to see if there's anything to drink in this house. I'll be back.
Yeah. Go for it.
And Keel, you there?
Okay.
I stood up and I realized how badly I have been shaking. I have a question for you and probably Keel too. I don't know if he's still here. Would it be fair to assume that Grimthane has talked about how well trained his horse is and lots of sorts of things, and there's Arahale still around technically to like help guide the horse?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Would Arahale be able to manage getting the horse with the two unconscious people through without a second person to help corral it?
Yeah, I would think that actually the horse could do it on its own potentially, but it's
Okay.
like the wargs have caught you, so that's the
Yeah.
danger.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's a tricky one because like I don't know if that was like too difficult, or like because I think there was a way to win that, but like charging the fortified position wasn't it. And I don't want to like now just be like, because if it was Lord of the Rings, Gandalf would appear and save you, but it's not Lord of the Rings. It's the Fourth Age, and there is no Gandalf, you know. So I don't really know what the answer is. I think like I don't know. It's up to you guys. What we're going to go into initiative now, basically, in a second.
Yeah.
But you guys can like think about what you want to do.
Yeah, I've got an idea.
Easy choice.
I guess I'm the only one that can make choices because you guys are unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess is Nico's character? Did he pass his last save?
And we didn't roll it yet.
Oh,
God.
oh my god. That I forgot about the
lingering.
He's had a few saves so far. That's why in the chat he's so much more dire than we are.
Yeah.
TPK.
Yeah. Literally 50-50 chance that he dies.
Oh my god.
Oh no. I would say it's probably worse than that because there's a pretty good chance that we all die, so.
Yes.
What a session for Jeff to miss.
He's gonna be fucking raging when he comes back.
Oh
What the
my
fuck?
god.
We can go ahead and roll initiative now, actually. Nico's just still smoking, but he'll be back in a second. Fucking works crit initiative. Jesus Christ.
Fittingly, I rolled a 1 for initiative as well.
To no end to the misery. Sometimes God bless you in the morning and the curse you in the afternoon.
My little die rolled so well for a really long time. And it just couldn't keep rolling that well. I should have switched.
That was impressive. So many 14, 16s on disadvantage. You did really well.
It was rolling really well, and I had +0 to almost all of those. So it was just like you had to roll 15 or higher, and it did really well for so long. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like seriously distraught and shaking.
Oh my god.
It's a hard thing when it's like a campaign too. So early on, just be like, well, this is what's happened. This is what's happened, you know. So like, I don't want to pull punches because I wouldn't in other games.
Yeah.
I've got the sad Gandalf music playing. It's grim. Give them a moment for pity's sake.
It's so perfect. I've had that playing since the slow-mo fight in the stairwell.
Yeah, some things that should not have been forgotten, like that orcs are scary as hell.
Oh man. It was a team effort, Taylor. Grimthane was the one that said, let's go over to the tower.
Okay, so Nico, you're back. Can you just roll me initiative, Nico?
I'm unconscious.
Yeah, just so when we know to do your save. All right.
Oh, okay, yep. 10.
Okay. Okay, so you've been crashing through like Mirkwood at like crazy speed, and you still are like galloping, but now you can hear right behind you like the snarling and the pounding of the paws of the wargs and of Oriel. It's your turn.
You said Ivoriel knows some of wargs. This path that we're going on, how wide is it? Could they get past me if I stopped?
Probably not. It's probably like a rut, and you're going single file, I would imagine. Maybe 2, but no, I mean they'd have to like go through the trees, and it would be like half movement to try and do that to get around you.
She would like to pull her horse to the side and let the others past, and tell Hale to go. And she'll draw her sword and face the wargs.
Hard thing for me to know what Arahel would do in the situation, but I think he would probably see that as like noble. He's also like extremely privileged, so I think that he would probably take that that offer. So he'll like look for a moment, like distraught, his eyes wide. He'll shake his head, but then see like the two wargs barreling down, and the two men like near death, and will nod. Okay, so you like pull your horse up and stop, and then like almost a second later, two wargs kind of barrel into you.
Yeah, and she's readying that action so that when one of them comes, she'll strike out with the sword.
Yep, you can do so now.
Am I still at disadvantage for poison, or have we run out of that?
No, it was more than a minute for sure.
Oh, now it's
Running.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I rolled
Okay.
2.
Yeah. So you like slash out at one of the wargs, but they're like just smash into you with this insane force. One of them's going to try and bite your horse. Rolls a 4, so that's not going to work. The second one's going to try and like athletics check you from your horse onto the ground. So can you roll me athletics, please? DC is 14.
Exactly 14, because I have a -1.
Okay, so it's the aggressor. So it like one of them is going to like smash into the back end of your horse. The second one is like leaps into the air and like is going to pull you from the saddle and onto the ground. So you are prone beneath it. That's going to be it for them. Thamar, death save, please.
Oh, I rolled it before. Sorry, because like when the skill encounter was happening, because I still had one check to make, and I stabilized then.
Okay.
So I need to continue making them or something.
No, just you had one to go basically.
Yeah, I rolled that during the skill encounter, thinking that it would come up already. Yeah, and I got an 11 on the die, so I'll take that if I can. But,
yeah,
I'll roll otherwise.
So yes, you'll stabilize. Grimthane, death save.
Pass.
Okay, Voriel, your turn. You're like prone on the ground, and this like warg is on top of you. It's like one massive paw is like pressed into your left shoulder, and it's like disgusting. Warg drool is like dripping onto your face.
She'll try and stab into its soft underbelly. Natural 20.
The gods.
Yes.
Oh my god.
How much damage? 7 damage. Oh, do I double the dice though?
Yep.
11 damage.
Okay, very nice. I will need from you one 10-sided die roll, please.
I'm shaking so bad. It's a 2.
2. I think that's good news for you. Okay, and a D20, please.
4.
So you like stab up into the things. You go to stab up into its stomach, and it like moves sort of confusedly, and you like stab up into its like jaw and like pull out. It's it's easily confused. It has disadvantage on all wisdom saves for the rest of its life, which would be devastating for a character, but not so much for a warg. But nonetheless, like blood will like pour onto the ground from the wound. Is that it for you?
Yes.
Okay. The warg is going to try and kill your horse. It was a 15, which will hit the horse. And it doesn't quite kill it, like bites down into your horse. Your horse is going to make an attack, obviously, in response, and will actually hit. Okay, and then the warg on top of you is going to try and bite down at you with advantage because you're prone. It's going to be 12 all up, which misses you, I imagine.
Yeah, I think Avoriel has the blade still up, and she's trying to put it between its teeth to protect herself.
Yeah, it's like snarling. It's like losing some control in its jaw after like you stabbed it. But that's going to be it for it. Thamar, stable. Grimthane with a death save, please.
Ooh, fail.
Okay, so one of each. And back to you, Avoriel.
Once again, she's gonna try and kill this thing. She's stabbed it in the jaw once. She'll aim up through the soft spot under its chin. Shit, you not. I just rolled another natural 20.
Yes, excellent. Okay, damage.
Oh my god. 3, 5, 8, and 3, 11. Oh, must be a lucky number.
2. Okay, it's very badly bloodied, but not quite dead.
And you need a D10, you said?
Yes.
4? Is that what I rolled last time?
You're the 2 last time.
Okay.
4 is combat. And then a D10, please.
A D10?
Yep.
Okay. 9.
Okay, so you go for that soft spot in the chin. You like catch it in the side of the jaw where some nerve is, and it like leaps off you and like rolls onto the ground. It is knocked prone and it's no longer on top of you. Yeah, and it like whimpers on the ground now, and you're able to stand if you so wish.
I will absolutely stand up.
Okay.
And she's like got blood all over her from the warg and from her arrow wound. And she's shaking. She's terrified.
The warg is going to try and eat your horse. Rolls a 14, which will hit a horse. Horses have 12 hit points. And the horse, yeah, it lives. It's giving it all it's got. You want to roll an attack for your horse? Let's roll d20 and add 4.
Yeah, absolutely. The horse misses.
Okay, so it's like lashing it like crazy, but like it's not even a war horse, and so it doesn't connect with the warg this turn. And then the warg on by you is going to stand and it's going to try and bite you. A 15 to hit.
Yes, that will hit.
It's going to be 9 points of damage.
I'm down.
So it like leaps forward and like bites towards you. You like lift your arm to try and block, and it like bites the arm and pushes you down into the ground and begins to like tear as best it can. Okay, Grimthane, another death save.
Success.
Okay. Ivoriel, death save.
Yes.
Success?
Yeah.
Okay. So the warg will attack you as you're down and deal 2 fails. The other warg is going to finish off your horse. And Grimthane, another death save.
Success. Third success.
Okay, so you stabilize. And okay, Ivoriel, death save.
Yes.
Okay, and then the warg can like place like one huge paw on your chest and then like leap down with its jaws and like tear out all the important parts of your throat and will begin to eat Ivoriel. there will be like a long time that will pass before Theomar and Grimthane, you'll like come to wakefulness. You're like propped up in a copse of trees, like each of you against a tree, and you can see like there's some bandages like wrapped around some of your worst wounds, and there's like agony all through you from like the wounds and from the like being on the back of the horse through the gallop when you weren't like conscious. And you can see that like Arahale is like squatted, like facing away from you with his bow in hand, like watching carefully for anything that might be approaching.
So Arahale is there with us when we come to, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No. Oh. You'll sit up, Grimthane will sit up. See Arahel there crouching with the bow, look to his side, and see Theomar, I think, groggily coming to as well. And what else does he see?
Yeah, you would see Theomar like badly wounded. You would see Arahel, as I say, squatting. Two horses. Luckily, one of them is yours. Though of the other horse and of Oriel, there is no sign. You're in this like copse of trees. And there's like a little stream nearby. Like no obvious signs of like evil or even spider webs. It looks like Arahel found somewhere quiet.
It is some miracle that we are alive. And he looks to Arahel. Evoriel, where is she?
He would like not even turn over his shoulder. He would just like slowly shake his head.
So she fell.
She gave her life so that we might live.
Do you know where the body rests?
She's gone, Grimthane. Her body
We
is
must
lost
see to it
us.
that she has a proper burial. He kind of snaps a little bit.
We were chased by wargs.
It would be an honor to die in the retrieval of Evoriel's body, to bury her as she was fitting a sacrifice. We were sworn to serve the king and bring him word of this. By Evoriel's own words, needed to witness the evil in order to report it. We've done so, surely, Arahael. Discovered that there are minions of this burnt lord at work in the dark wood.
Like he's nodding, but he's not saying anything. Yes.
And from here, you remember the way, the path we took back. You could take word to him.
What would you do?
Help Grimthane retrieve Evoriel's body, set her to right.
Grimthane, just after sort of snapping at Theomar, saying that we need to give her a proper burial, he's kind of realizing the reality, and he softens a bit. Theomar, what fate will the wargs have left her body to? There may be nothing to find. He places a hand on his shoulder.
Then I will seek and search to find nothing, if that's the case. But 3 riders and 2 mounts make a poor fellowship. The way beyond, barred by the orc to us. The word of this must reach the king.
It will.
Must mobilize.
It will, but what sense is there of you joining a Vorial in death? Ride with me on Galmund. The 3 of us can return. Send word to the king. We know what dwells here. We know what is growing.
He says Grimthane, almost like teeth clenched, and leans in close. To bear the shame all my days, to run from so small a host, where a lady of the White City laid down her life that I may do so. Shame too heavy for me to bear and live with.
He kind of nods, seemingly in understanding of the sentiment.
I am wounded in my steel, all too heavy for your mount and you. And swifter passage will be made back the path we've taken, the 2 of you. You to guide safely Arahel and his words in favour to the king. And I'll return if I can when I may.
And at that, I imagine Theomar maybe even putting some sort of banality and assertiveness in his words, maybe starts to turn away, and Grimthane calls to him to stop. Theomar, what is it that you wish for? What would your fate be, your destiny in this world? What is your purpose, your greater purpose?
I am as certain of my fate now as I was before I took up the blade and shield and the vigil. Death at the hands of the enemy. That is my fate, and I'm fool to want else.
You need not want else. The enemy is everywhere. I see this now. You said it yourself, such small a host. What end is that to the mighty Theomar of Saragost? Please.
Not so much as to fail. Your words are sense, though, Grimthane. Alas, should it be our fate to suffer the spectre of a Vorial to haunt us amidst her sacrifice?
She haunts us not, Theomar. She remains with us. For me, she will spur me on to
Very well.
fight the shadow elsewhere, as she has done here, as she can no longer do. She's given you and I, and Arahel, all of us, and Galmund, the gift of life. I intend to honor that gift. I too would follow you to retrieve her body, if one exists. But there is a larger purpose for us, Theomar. Do not cast your life away. We need you. And now he looks over to Arahel pleadingly.
He looks between you and doesn't know how to act in the situation. He's probably never had anyone he knows die. And he would look between you. I would not have her sacrifice be in vain.
Very well. Let us rest here in secrecy without fire until we can push on.
I need not so much sleep. And my eyes see better in this dark, in this gloom. You needs must rest. Both of you. You're badly injured. And he'll just like turn back around, like away from the two of you, and like stare into the forest again.
Grimthane sees out of the corner of his eye. Down on his shoulder is protruding a crossbow bolt. And he looks Theomar square in the eye, grits his teeth, and snaps the shaft of it.
Thamar will move over and assist you, like pulling the barb out or pushing it out through the other side, wiping and cleaning out the wound, stitching it if it's possible, with some like thread and bone, and then like covering it up, hopefully with some clothes that aren't like sodden or covered in blood, and just try and comfort him in like through the agony of it till he falls asleep.
And you say as you're tending him, "Such healing hands for one such as yourself, Theomar of Saragost. Truly a friend such as yourself. Cannot lose you to such a fate. After having just lost another." As he sort of does. Sorry. Yeah.
He just simply says, "Rest easy, shield brother," and like soothes him, like pats his head, like wipes away sweat.
So you try and rest, huddled against the massive trees of Mirkwood, with Arahel keeping watch.
Yeah, once Grimthane is asleep, Theomar won't say a word, but Arahel will know his meaning, and he'll move back the path they've taken, intending to go back to where Avoriel, or what's left of her, if there's anything, is, and also to stall anything that may track the party thereafter, following Bagger's words, which he understood right in Black speech, to follow them. And if Arahel doesn't say anything, he'll move off into the gloom quickly, as quiet as he can.
Hard thing, because I don't know what Jeff would do. I think that he would probably say, or that Arahel would probably say, or he would just like shake his head. But he's not going to like physically stop you or like say anything. Like he would probably shake his head and like not being able to understand what you're doing or why. But yeah, he would like watch you go. And so Thamar wanders off in search of what remains. And for Ivoriel, the grey rain curtain will roll back. White shores in a far green country, somewhere beyond, on a swift sunrise. And that's probably where we're going to end today's session. There's a lot of thinking to do about what happens next. Thanks, guys. That was a lot more intense than I anticipated.
Thank you.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed.
Thank you.
And thanks to all the people who watched. Catch us next time if there is one. See you then.